Okay, so let's talk about one of the recipes I typically make every morning, and it's French toast. I make it for breakfast. It's about 600 calories with 45 grams of protein, and it's pretty easy to make. Now, depending on how much time you have, you may want to make it just like me, or you may make it on Sunday, make a whole bunch of it, and then just be able to pull it out and put it out of the refrigerator every morning when you want it. Like make a whole platter, and then every morning you'll make 4. So it's pretty easy to make. So the recipes calls for white bread. I use powdered peanut butter to keep the protein up. I use packets of Splenda to sweeten it. And then as far as the meal itself, to provide it more bulk, I use blueberries. So the first thing you need is egg white. And you can use either egg makers or egg beaters or liquid egg white. So I like the egg makers or the egg beater because it provides more bulk to French toast. But at the end of the day, whether you have egg beaters or egg white, the idea is that it's pretty much all protein and no fat. So the way I use about 250 grams of either egg white or the egg beaters. And I have my scale here, and I also have a scale here. So I'm going to use 250 grams of egg beater. So that's 200, 243. So that's my 250 grams. Then I put 3 packets of Splenda. Again, the Splenda is my sweetener. And I beat that up. Beat it. Now you also may see this recipe calls for vanilla or imitation vanilla because it has fewer calories, but I don't typically put that in there. But once the egg is beat and I put in my Splenda, now I get out my tray, my skillet. I've been toying with the idea of actually putting this recipe into a big platter and then throwing it in the oven. And I'm sure I can make more at one time if I do that. But since I typically have the time, I just make it just like I'm making it here. I have my 0-calorie canola oil spray. That's so the bread don't stick. And then from there, I use 4 slices of bread. So 2 slices is 120 calories. So I use 4 slices. It's going to give me 240 calories on average. So just regular bread, and you can bump up your protein if you have enough calories allotted for it. You can bump up your protein by getting protein bread or getting Dave's Killer Bread. At the end of the day, I use this bread because it's only 60 calories per slice. And then I just soak my bread in the batter, put it on the skillet. And then I pour the remaining egg, make divots. And then I pour the remaining egg on the bread. Sometimes if you're not careful, 250 grams may be too much for the 4 slices of bread that you use. So you have to be very careful when you're pouring the remaining egg on the bread. So now the next thing I'm going to do while the bread is cooking is I'm going to prepare the peanut butter. That's going to take about 6 minutes per side. In the meantime, I use powdered peanut butter. The difference between the powdered peanut butter and the regular peanut butter is about 150 calories. So this is 50 calories per serving, and one serving is 12 grams. So I use 2 servings of powdered peanut butter. So I'm gonna need 24 grams. So I zeroed out my scale. 23, 25 grams, 25, 24. Now as far as the water, you have to be very careful, but I like mine thick but not soupy. So I'm gonna add water until I get the consistency that I want. I mean, if you use a tablespoon and you use the same tablespoon number of tablespoons, it'll probably be easier than to just do what I'm doing, which is adding water and then stirring and adding water and stirring. It's probably easier to just use a measuring device. That way you just use the same amount of water every time. So that looks like it's going to turn out to be what I need. That looks good to me. I'll put my bread away, put my peanut butter away, and I flip my bread. So again, now in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and measure out 100 grams of blueberry. And the blueberry with the peanut butter, with the bread, is gonna give the meal volume. Now, since it's all going into on the same plate, I can either just throw the blueberries in the bowl, or I can measure out the blueberries individually. Also, I typically just wait until the bread, I'll do that. I'm gonna wait until the bread is done, slap on the peanut butter, and then put on my blueberries. Now, depending on how you like your bread, I don't like it very soggy, so I'm gonna keep smashing the bread, make sure all the egg cooks, and then once I do that, I'm gonna put it on the plate. I would add, this is again usually my first meal. I like to wake up in the morning and have 2 cups of black coffee, and I have my coffee until I get hungry. So my hours are typically waking up around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, have my coffee, and I don't eat my first meal until about 11 o'clock. And it's not that I'm intentionally doing a fast, it's just how I prefer to eat. That way, the next time I eat is usually 4 hours after, and then another 4 hours after that, and I'll get all my calories for the day. Okay, so that's good. So I'll grab my plate. Slap my French toast on the plate. Slap my peanut butter on my bread. If you like bananas, that's another thing you can slap on it. Or if you like strawberries, you know, you can slap strawberries on it as well. Turn on my scale. And now I'll put 100 grams of blueberry. And last but not least, I'll put on sugar-free syrup. So never use regular syrup, but sugar-free syrup. So for 30 milliliters or 30 grams, it's 15 calories. And I typically use 2 servings, so 30 calories of sugar-free syrup. I zero out my scale so I can measure 60 grams. 30, 40, 50, and 60 grams. So there we have it. That's the meal that I typically eat every morning when I'm at home.